Hi, it's Derek Blasberg. We are here in Paris, France with ZARA Talks. Today I'm speaking to the Women's Earth Alliance. I was just telling Melinda and Amira that every time I have a microphone like this in my hand, all I want to do is sing karaoke, but fear not, we're not doing that today. I'll briefly describe all the incredible work that the Women's Earth Alliance does. So you guys will just have to listen to me talk about you guys for a couple minutes, and then we'll dive in to the Q&A. So the Women's Earth Alliance is a nonprofit that funds and trains women leading climate and environmental projects around the world. It empowers women's leadership to protect the environment, build healthier, more resilient communities into the future. All proceeds from ZARA's 50th collection will be donated to the Women's Earth Alliance. I hope everyone has had a chance to go upstairs and see all the incredible things. And the Women's Earth Alliance invests in women leaders in the climate front lines through training, funding, and building global alliances for social, economic, and environmental justice. We have two guests today. The first, Melinda, the co-founder and co-executive director. She's a globally recognized social entrepreneur and environmentalist with 25 years of leadership advancing women-led solutions to our planet's most urgent challenges. Her work has spanned the globe, from Kenya to the Arctic to communities across the U.S., including St. Louis, Missouri, my hometown, where she has partnered with grassroots leaders to protect ecosystems, safeguard public health, and accelerate climate resilience. In 2005, she co-founded the Women's Earth Alliance to close the resource gap for women on the front lines of environmental and climate justice. Please welcome Melinda. Yes.
Thank you.
Amira Diamond is a co-founder and co-executive of the Women's Earth Alliance. She's an acclaimed movement strategist with 3 decades of leadership advancing climate resilience, gender equity, and social justice. Her work spans philanthropy, cross-sector partnerships, and grassroots organizing. She's trained generations of leaders, she's shaped national campaigns, and co-created a global model for women-led climate action. As the co-creator of the Women's Earth Alliance, she has helped grow a worldwide network of women transforming their communities and our planet. In 2024, Melinda and Amira were honored with the prestigious Heinz Award for the Environment, which recognizes global leaders demonstrating excellence in environmental innovation, impact, and vision. I know that's so awkward to hear your whole life read while you're sitting up here, but thank you, and it's so great to meet you both, and thanks for being here today. I guess the obvious question and the easiest place to start would be, what inspired you to start the Women's Earth Alliance 20 years ago, and how has it evolved in the last 2 decades?
Thank you so much, and thank you for the introduction, and it's just so wonderful to be here in such a creative space. I feel like I'm getting more creative and innovative just by being in this kind of community and space. Women's Earth Alliance is a story of innovation and creativity and audacity. We had a wild idea. All of us, there were 30 of us from 26 countries who envisioned and launched Women's Earth Alliance. And we really saw a gap. We saw women around the world being impacted by every environmental and health issue disproportionately. And yet, we were missing from the decision-making tables. We were missing out on the opportunities to access the funding, the training, the resources we needed. And so we said, what would happen if the very people protecting the earth were supported and united in their effort to do that? And we really wanted to flip it on its head, flip traditional aid and development thinking on its head, and place those on the front lines of the challenges, right in the helm, in the center of the solution. And we knew, we had a very strong theory that when you empower women, everybody wins. It is an investment that will multiply. And so we took that risk to plant the first seed, start the first initiative, and now we're almost 20 years in.
Can I ask, how did you guys meet? How did you start working together?
So I had the honor of working alongside Julia Butterfly Hill. She's the woman who's known for sitting at the top of the redwood tree for 2 years in Northern California to keep it from getting cut down. And when she came down from the tree, we launched environmental event series around the country and did education. And Melinda was also connected to Julia and Julia brought the two of us together. And at that time, I think Melinda and I both had a sense that whatever we did to transform our world, joy needed to be at the center of that, because the issues we're facing are so challenging, can be so demoralizing and devastating, that it would be critical for us to launch something that could really harness not only the innovation, but the joy of women leaders. And with Julia's blessing, we started our work together.
And so fast forward to 20 years, and Women's Earth Alliance has worked in over 30 countries. As you had mentioned, 50,000 women have gone through a Women's Earth Alliance training program, and each woman turns right around and empowers circles upon circles of more women. We have reached 24 million people with life-saving environmental and health solutions. And so that's really that ripple effect.
Of course, we know climate change affects different people in different ways, but you are focusing on the female experience. So how does these climate justice issues differently affect women?
Yeah. Women, because of our position in every society around the world, we are marginalized in our efforts to live, our efforts to lead. And women make up 80% of climate displaced people. Women are 14 times more likely to die in a climate-related disaster because of their position, poverty, lack of access to resources. We literally hold the world's toxins in our bodies differently than our male counterparts, and that's what we pass on to the next generation. We don't want environmental pollutants and toxicity to be our legacy. We want health and vibrancy to be what we pass forward. Women are spending millions of hours walking to get water, to get fuel. Those are hours that could be put into education, into developing our economies, into the creativity that we know is possible for half of our population. And women produce most of our world's food. So it's not okay that women own less than 1% of our world's titled land. So this is the context that we are building solutions from.
And because women are at the heart of our world's social, environmental, and economic challenges, they're also best positioned to implement solutions. Women have a sense of when there's an environmental degradation in the community, say the water has run dry, it's the women are the ones who've been walking to fetch that water. They have a sense of where it would be important to install a rainwater harvesting tank, or where we want to make sure that water filtration systems are up to par so the children aren't sick when they're going to school. And so when we don't center the voices of women leaders, we miss out on their innovations. It's not just about equity, it's also about the diversity that's really needed if we're going to solve our world's challenges. And women, being at the heart of those, are really best positioned to decide and to inform what the way forward will be.
It sounds like you do a lot of things, but can you share some specific stories that reflect the power of the grassroots women-led climate action? I see that you do stuff with rainforests in Indonesia, food deserts in Florida. So it sounds like you are all over the place, but are there some specific examples to illustrate some of your missions?
The looser ecosystem in Indonesia is known as one of the world's lungs. The Amazon is also known as lungs of the planet, and that's because these diverse ecosystems actually put oxygen into our world. The looser ecosystem is the last place in the world where orangutan, rhinoceros, tiger, elephant, they all coexist in this beautiful ecosystem, and yet the looser ecosystem is totally under threat, and thousands of acres are destroyed each and every year. Rahel Fajri is an example of a Women's Earth Alliance leader. She jumped into action more than 20 years ago when a tsunami affected her community and upended the water security. Rahal wasn't an activist, she wasn't a community organizer, she was a mom who wanted to make sure that her family had safe water, so she launched an entire initiative to restore the water quality of her village. And then she founded an organization and became connected to Women's Earth Alliance's work. And today we run an advocacy and entrepreneurship program together. We've worked with 300 women to launch businesses that actually create products from the forest rather than cutting the forest down. It's created a really incredible alternative to palm oil extraction and showed the value of these forests to the entire community. Those entrepreneurs have created livelihoods for their families and gone on to impact 50,000 more leaders. And Rahal is just a fantastic example of a woman who got in action and creates a ripple effect.
There's also Camille Hadley. Camille is based in South Florida in the United States, and Camille was a participant in our training program, our U.S. Grassroots Accelerator. Camille's story is amazing. She started with looking around in her community, which is a USDA designated food desert. People struggle to access healthy food, fresh food. There is a poverty crisis in this area. Camille started with a few plants that she was growing on her front porch, and people would ask her, and she would teach people how, with a small space, you can start to plant food. Fast forward, she launched an organization that is now training children on urban farming. She has community gardens. She is pumping out food and education and inspiration in her community. And you can imagine how helpful that was during COVID, when people really did not have access to what they needed. And it was grassroots leaders who understood how to navigate, how to circumvent all of the barriers to entry and make sure people, the elders who needed food, they knew where to go. It was Camille and her organization, Little Growers, who made that happen. And today, Camille, who started with the first little plants on her front porch, now is feeding thousands of people. She spoke at the White House. She just received a large grant to expand her impact. So that's Camille in South Florida.
I think we should share something about Kenya too, where we just got back.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we were just in, now we'll move ourselves up to western Kenya. It's the last remaining tropical rainforest in Kenya. It's a beautiful place, and also, like many beautiful places on Earth, it's under threat. Why? Because it has the resource of timber, and it has been for years under threat of being destroyed. It is the women of Kakamega who have been preserving and protecting this place. And we went to a place that was previously barren ground, and it was the women of Kakamega, who we work with every day, who have been planting trees so successfully that these trees have become a local economy. So now people have alternatives to timber for resources. They're growing food, they have agroforestry happening, they have products that they're turning into businesses through our training programs. And we stood in a forest that was barren ground that is now, it was providing a shade. And I remember standing with that community, and everyone was so happy. What did we do? We had to sing. So we all raised our voices and we sang in celebration of what can be transformative.
Perhaps the main reason that we do this work is the chance to sing in Africa. And I even got to use a bell this time. So I was marching in the parade with the bell, my absolute highlight. But I remember a conversation with Melissa, Mama Melissa, who stood there and she said, you know, because we have work, we have money. Because we have money, we can send our children to school. Because we can send our children to school, they have more respect in the community. Because our children go to school, people listen to us when we speak. We can now show up and bring our voice to decision-making tables like we never could before. And Melissa has a tree nursery that features indigenous trees, which are critical for the biodiversity of this ecosystem. And at any any given time, a WIA leader could have up to 18,000 tree saplings in one tree nursery, and those are all there available for the community to come by, to purchase. And with a couple of years in the ground, those trees produce food and create food security for the community and shade. And shade is so important as global temperatures rise. And so the production of trees and agroforestry work has such a cascading set of benefits for the communities we serve.
Sitting next to Melissa that day that we met her was her daughter.
Yeah.
And she introduced us to her daughter and said, this is my daughter who is now in university, something that I'm able to pay for because of the income that I have made from all that you see here that's giving all of this food and medicines and health and shade is also funding the education for my daughter, the next generation, who's going to inherit this beautiful place. So it was, we talk about transformation, and then you're standing in a situation where you see it, you feel it, and you understand that it's no longer just a word.
And because of the power of that work, the Kenyan government also approached the community groups and bestowed several hundred hectares to them to protect and restore for years to come. So the government is now involved as well with this initiative that started at the grassroots level.
How did these women find you guys? I mean, is it the internet?
I'm glad you asked the question, because as you can tell, we were going to just keep telling stories, because it is our.
They're good. It's hard to interrupt these amazing stories.
There's a lot of them, but yes. So, Women's Earth Alliance has what we call a network infrastructure, which is really, think of it almost like irrigation, under the ground, feeding, a kind of unearthing all of this, all the fruits of all of these regions around the world. So we have hubs of leadership. We call them our program leads. And so in each region, there is a group and a community that hosts accelerator training programs. The trainers are from that region. The trainers all understand what is the cultural context, what are the best solutions to bring to the fore. And these are year-long training programs. They're holistic, robust training programs where women access funding resources, technical training, advocacy support, leadership development, and business skills. And then they go on to teach others and train others in their work.
Do they come in with a concept already, or
yes,
is there?
Yes. So the idea of accelerator is really to take these brilliant ideas that are all fit for purpose, that have already, they've built the trust in their communities. They already know what's working, and they just need to scale that impact. And so they go through our programs and they take their projects and expand them.
I'm looking at something called the multiplier effect. Is that what we're talking about now?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. It's kind of like the each one teach one model. When you listen to a trusted, remember the Avon model, where one woman teaches, she sits in her kitchen and she tells you, this foundation is really going to work for you, and you build a relationship and you build trust. It's almost like that at scale, where through trusted relationships, women leaders bring each other along on a pathway towards empowerment and impact.
Which is a big reason why when we work with leaders, a lot of what happens is we maintain our presence in the regions where we work, because women will suggest a next leader who they know that's ready to bring their innovation to scale. So when we enter a community, we generally remain there for it's been 20 years in many of the places we work, and 20-year partnerships with many of the women we lead with. And about the multiplier effect, I will say that traditional development is known for dropping solutions in from outside, coming up with what might work for a community without necessarily listening to what the community needs. But when you have a trusted woman leader who's bringing an innovation forward, all of a sudden people will listen. And I think clean cook stoves are a really good example of that. The women we work with, our colleagues, so many of them have been cooking using wood for a very long time. And there's a deep cultural belief that wood actually makes the food taste better. And when a woman cooks well, she's respected. And so to ask someone to change the way they're cooking is a really big deal. And yet what we know about wood and cooking with wood is that it causes all kinds of issues with respiratory illness and is one of the leading causes of death for women and their children who are often on their backs while they're cooking. And so a trusted woman leader coming in and saying, this is an innovation that's going to really change your health, it's going to change your family's lives, it's going to stop you from having to walk a long distance where we're deforesting the nearby forests, and then oftentimes, sadly, those walks can be very dangerous for women. And one small cook stove is an innovation that can change all of those challenges. And so we see a multiplier effect also with the innovations themselves that have this cascading set of benefits: health, economics.
That's actually sort of an interesting point, how easy it is to enter communities and affect change. You must have had some pushback occasionally, but...
I think,
yeah, I mean, I think the difference is we're not entering communities. It's about unearthing the know-how and the vision of community leaders themselves. And so when you're already deeply embedded in the community, you're the ones people go to when there's a flood, when there's a drought, when there's a crisis. If you're the ones that have the ability to change behavior, introduce an innovation, it's going to be more successful because you're not importing it, you're just unearthing it.
Your Rising Tides, Rising Women campaign, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Aims to 10x impact. What's the boldest part of that vision?
I will say that it's just such an honor and a privilege to be here with ZARA today. When we launched this campaign, our partnership with ZARA had not started yet, and so it's really catalyzing the work at such a deep level. And not only is this partnership powerful in and of itself, but we can tell you that already the influence that it's having has been tremendous. We've been onboarding partners at a rate that we didn't anticipate, and it's because the sustainability efforts of ZARA are so well respected, and people understand that Women's Earth Alliance is now standing alongside this company that's really a global leader in what it looks like to bring sustainability to the fore. And we had the joy of visiting A Coruña this summer and getting to see the facilities and to meet the sustainability team. And I can assure you that what this company is leading the way on it truly is the future. And it's so much of the future that this Rising Tides, Rising Women campaign stands for.
I mean, it has given us such a boost in what is a pretty bold campaign. So in the next 3 years, we will be training 15,000 women in 15 countries. We will be protecting 1.2 million acres of land. We will be sequestering 300,000 carbon tons. We will be protecting the health and well-being of 10,000 women and girls.
10 million.
10 million, thank you. Big difference.
Just add a zero.
Yeah, and this work will directly provide for 25 million people.
And at the heart of it is also economic development, because we understand that when women have livelihoods, they have voices, they have power. And so we'll be launching 7,500 women-led enterprises, and that takes place in those 15 countries. We're also launching climate resilience centers in all of the regions where we work, and we're happy to say that the first one has kicked off in Nairobi, Kenya, where we just secured land. And on that land will be a climate resilience hub that models vertical farming, it will model solar, it will model water filtration systems so that urban women can understand how to survive in the coming days. And then alongside that is a plastic recycling facility that's going to turn plastic into lumber, into building tiles, into bricks, into household products. And in addition to doing that, it will really help transform the terrible perception and treatment of waste pickers, the majority of whom are women. And so we're really excited to have that first climate resilience hub happening in Nairobi, Kenya.
So you guys launched Rising Tides, Rising Women even before ZARA.
Even
you guys
before,
were
yeah.
very bold.
We both have an anniversary, so we're heading into our 20th. 20th year.
The campaign that ZARA is celebrating is alongside some of the world's most iconic creators. What does it mean to you to be elevating women as climate innovators in this kind of cultural environment?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think that at the heart of the creation of this campaign, we really want to acknowledge the leadership and vision of Chairwoman Marta Ortega for her incredible vision to bring this to life. This campaign is highlighting the innovations of 50 iconic leaders, and in so many ways it is the elevation of leaders in our world right now that's going to really help us protect this earth for future generations. So we really are so grateful for the vision here that aligns so profoundly with the way Women's Earth Alliance works.
Yes, and art and culture really impact the way we see the world, the way that we experience leaders. And so to have the Women's Earth Alliance, these innovators and creative change makers alongside these iconic leaders in art and in design is so significant.
At the heart of the eco-enterprises that we are supporting the launch of around the world is uplifting traditional textile work and preserving patterns that actually tell stories. There's a whole element of culture that women are protecting that's connected to the seed banks and to the ways that we understand our relationship with nature. And so we see that very much as art as well.
Yes, I mean, we have leaders walking down the runways and in the studios, and with the message that this campaign sends, we also have leaders in the farms and in the homes who are doing their own innovation as well.
Innovation's an incredible thing to touch on. Of course, you work with women entrepreneurs creating sustainable products. Mm-hmm. So specifically, what kind of innovations are you seeing that could transform how we think about consumption?
I think one of the things that we've learned the most from Women's Earth Alliance leaders all over the world is resourcefulness. I'll never forget our training program in Kenya earlier in 2008, when, of course, a community that had an abundance of banana trees created rainwater harvesting systems made out of hollowed out trunks of banana trees. So brilliant. And it's about working with what you have. It's about meeting people where they are. And sometimes that is the best innovation. And we have so many examples of that.
I think the other main innovation that can't be overlooked is the power of relationship. It's really fundamental to the work that we do, and it's fundamental to the trust building that it takes for people to really step out and be courageous. And so, although that's a time-tested winning formula for companies like ZARA, who have built such an incredible relationship in the communities where they sell and source. It's the same secret sauce for Women's Earth Alliance.
This campaign is being celebrated alongside some of the world's most iconic creators. What does it mean to you to be elevating women as climate innovators in this kind of cultural moment?
Yeah, I really think that there is a beautiful image that I have of a diversity of innovators, whether they're in the farms, whether they're in the fields, whether they're in the homes, the studios, or the runways. They are bringing something that is an invitation. It's welcoming to create beauty, to create possibility and hope for people, and to think outside of the box. I think we need more of that right now.
Have you guys been upstairs? Any favorites?
Well, my favorite is the book that looks at what the next 50 years can be. I think that if we all flash forward in our minds to have a long view, that's the way that we're going to make choices now that really allow us to build a future we want to see. So when I saw that book for looking 50 years into the future, I thought, I want my children to have this. I want our leaders to have this, because it's such a visionary way to approach today with that mindset for the future.
I also have an aspiration to surf, and so just I feel like I might need that surfboard, just to have every day look at my aspirational dream.
And it's pink.
And it's pink.
You won't lose it. You'll stick out too.
And the more surfers, the more people are going to care about making sure we get that
See,
plastic
look.
out of the ocean and into a recycling facility to turn it into a brick.
Exactly. I guess this is a good question to end on. As we think about the future, what does the next 10 years look like for the Women's Earth Alliance? Is there anything that we can do here to help amplify your work and your mission statement? But oftentimes looking forward is tricky, but let's be optimistic for a minute and think about what we can do to help.
Yeah. I think we like to talk about our optimism as grounded optimism. So just to ground us one moment in the present. We are in serious, heavy times. This has been called the fourth extinction. Every day we're losing life on Earth at an unprecedented rate. Earlier this year, in our efforts to address this cascade of bad news around the planetary health, some of our best innovators are under-resourced women. The UN Women report that came out earlier this year showed that with these aid cuts, 90% of women's groups are going to be impacted. And of those, about half of them could disappear. And even if that is an exaggerated amount, we know that there is a precipice. And these are the women who we work with. These are the ones, like I said, these are the ones who people go to when there is a crisis. We know them, they're our friends, they roll up their sleeves at all costs, and they are there for the floods, there for the droughts, there for the food shortages. They'll open up a health clinic in their home if they have to. These are the leaders we need to resource. It's urgent, and when we look into the future, we see resources in the hands of these leaders, and with that is the freedom to design and to design and to make the change from their vision.
As Melinda mentioned, our Rising Tides, Rising Women goal to protect and restore 1.2 million acres, and last year alone we already did that with 900,000, which is almost the size of Yosemite. And so I think what we're seeing is that we still can protect the looser ecosystem, the Kakamega rainforest. We still can make sure that resources are moving where they're needed most. We don't have a resource problem in this world. We have a distribution issue. And so what we see in the next 10 years is just the swift distribution of resources to where they're needed most, to see our rainforests thriving, to see our seed stock maintaining the biodiversity of this world, to see languages not going extinct even faster than animals right now, to see the songs that women and men have been singing for generations still sung, and to really ensure that the rich, diverse cultural fabric of our world is uplifted, celebrated, and we believe with all our hearts and know it to be true that we can protect this earth for future generations and live in a fair and beautiful world.
Well, thank you for all the incredible work that the Women's Earth Alliance does, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
guys.
much,
Thank you so
Derek.
much, and thanks
Thank you.
to ZARA.